Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 26th of February. My name's Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary.
And Gary, I have a very important question for you.
Okay, well...
I was waiting for some response.
That wasn't an invitation, it was a statement.
Well, it was a question. I was waiting for you to go, oh, and what would that be, Philip?
Oh, what would that question be,
so
pray tell, Philip?
So, Gary, is it the start, is it the end of summer?
Yeah.
Or is it the start
of summer? We know it's the end of summer because summer finishes at the end of February.
See, this is
December, January, February.
This is why, Gary, I'm finding you increasingly to be. You live your life between the goalposts, and you can't think outside the square.
I don't.
So,
what's wrong with living my life between the goalposts?
If you think about it, Gary, I reckon summer starts on the 1st of February.
Yeah.
February, March, and April are the hotter months.
So you're
December,
correct.
January are no longer the
entire calendar worldwide, and whoever started that is wrong. But you Philip Kingston,
I think that the calendar, I think the calendar goes back to the age of Galileo, but the climate has changed. Haven't you noticed that winter happens later, summer happens later, and here we are. We're about to go through a heat wave, and yet technically this heat wave is starting at the end of summer.
So this is climate change. Are you a believer?
Well, let me ask you the question, Gary.
Yeah, don't answer a question with a question. Yeah. You don't need to do that. We've gone through too much in our lives for that to happen.
Did you have dinner with Tony Abbott last night? Did you?
Look, I'm a bit worried about this whole new thing, this whole fake news thing, because you don't know what to believe anymore. You know, like I sit up watching the American news. I go CNN, okay, Trump's terrible, and I go Fox, he's all right. The Trump's bad, he's all right, and I'm getting very confused. This whole fake news concept, it means you can't believe anything anymore. And as you know, I believe everything.
Well,
I'm very gullible.
I think, Gary, in the age of fake news,
that's a scary concept.
I think the good news about fake news is that intelligent people are increasingly now sourcing out trusted journalism. And have you noticed that more and more people are turning to GPTV for the real facts about the world?
We've got real facts here, haven't we? Real facts with statistics, Philip. And you know what they say about statistics, 96% of them made up on the spot.
So viewers, what cannot be made up on the spot, and that's why you are tuning in on a weekly basis to get the facts from GPTV, because the facts are this. 54% was the industry clearance, but the crystal clear facts, because we cannot vouch for the industry because we weren't at everybody else's auctions, but we were at ours. And again, Gary, smashing the industry average already, just coming out of the blocks hard.
It's both time.
65% clearance rate.
He loves a boast.
That we sold 15 out of 23, Gary. So all I can say, viewers, there was a time when, of course, we would look down on 65% and say, well, that was pretty ordinary. Now it's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, it is all by contrast, isn't it, Philip? And it is way ahead of the industry, you're right. And
shades of grey, Gary.
I've got to say, you were
50 shades of grey.
What's that got to do with the real estate market? I'm getting a bit spooked here. We've got one of the Razzle Awards.
Gary,
how about they've got the academies on? Everything's happening.
Speaking of 50 Shades of Grey,
I don't like what you're going to say.
No, this is fine. My Netflix addiction, because there are people like Stephen that watch this show to see what we're watching, and he gets inspiration either to watch it or to actually avoid it. I am obsessed with a one-season series at the moment.
I've got one too. Is it the same one?
Well, all I can say, viewers, if you want to watch the most gripping and appalling show, you've got to watch Dirty John.
I'm watching the same show. How about that? We haven't even compared notes.
Where are you up to?
I'm up to 4. I'm 4 out of 6.
I think I'm up to 4. So all I can say is, I said to Irene last night, if this wasn't true, if this was just a thriller...
It's a bit dramatised. Again, we don't know it's fake news, Philip, because we don't know what's true
Irene
anyway.
has listened to the podcast.
You may not even be Philip
Irene
Kingston.
has listened to the podcast where this woman actually spoke, and Irene is saying, when she compares the podcast to this, of course it's dramatised, but she says it's pretty much spot on.
It's a good story, isn't it?
And we were saying last night, if this was a made-up thriller series, you would be sitting there going, wow, how incredible this is.
I'm loving it too.
As they say, fact is always far more exciting than fiction.
And how about Eric Bana? What a good actor he is. And in fact, one of our wonderful ladies, Jodie English, who has left our industry but still a close friend of the company's, she went to school with Eric Bana, and she was telling me about what a great bloke he is.
Well,
and he's a great actor.
He is fantastic.
He's a great actor.
But Irene sat beside him at the hairdresser a couple of weeks ago, and she knew he was going to play this lead character, and she said he was the sweetest, gentlest, quietest bloke. Well, Dirty John, unbelievable.
Yeah, although he's He's it's a great show.
It's incredible.
But he's
I mean, it's
kind
a true story.
Yeah,
That's what makes it incredible.
He's not loud and outrageous in it. He's just very nasty.
He's creepy.
Creepy guy, Phil. Talking about creepy guys.
There are psychopaths out there, and in fact, the next time you go out for a coffee at a cafe, have a look at the person sitting at the next table, because they may well be a psychopath.
You might come home, open the door, and they might be in your lounge room, like Dirty John would do. Philip, what I want to say to you is, how many bidders you weren't at the meeting yesterday? You were very busy in another commitment at the hairdresser, I think, at the time. But Philip, how many bidders do you reckon we saw on the weekend? You don't know the number.
All I know is that I did a number of auctions that had competitive bidding. So I'm going to have a guess, Gary. I'm going to have a guess we had 23 auctions.
Yep.
I'm going to guess that we had 2 bidders per auction across the 23. So I'm going with 46.
You're very close, Philip. There was 42 bidders on the weekend.
Okay.
42 bidders.
Pay me the big dollars.
And there's now 28 left over.
Yeah.
So I was just saying that for those that are wondering, because this weekend just gone was the real test of the market for 2019, Philip. Now I'm very passionate about this because we didn't know what was going to happen.
True.
Let's face it.
It's true.
We all had our feelings, we had our thoughts, we had our instincts. We thought the markets. But this weekend that just passed, it was game on, Phil, and there was lots of buyers, lots of bidders, and some properties that went for great premiums, Philip.
Gary, there's no question this was the litmus test.
The market's back. I'm excited.
Litmus test weekend.
Yep.
And whilst I'm just trying to be a little bit more lower key than you are, a bit more measured, there is no question the market in February feels a little bit more energetic, a little bit more healthier than it did in November,
I'm like
December.
Crazy John, and you're like Dirty John. Now the market is back, Phil. I reckon it's
a bad name, Dirty John. It makes me makes me feel unclean.
Well, Lucky's not Dirty Phil. That'd be really bad. It was always Lucky Phil on television, wasn't it?
Should
we talk about some of our results? We've got so many. We're not going to go through
Gary,
them.
let's.
You started off though in Prahran.
Jump into the weekend.
A 1-bedroom apartment in Sydney Street, Prahran, Philip.
No, thank you, Gary. It was a 2-bedroom apartment. I've got to tell you, interesting case study, viewers. When we took this property over for sale purposes, it had been managed, and the owner had had it for many, many years, and it was in what I would consider to be fairly rundown condition.
Yep. This is going to make the episode very long.
No, we painted it, we carpeted it, we put new blinds in, we put staged furniture in, and that resulted us in having 5 competitive bidders and selling it over the top of the quote range.
Can't go too long because Julie's in the bath and it's getting cold. What are you doing with your face there?
I just have a little itching nose.
Are you picking a nose on GPTV? That's off. But Julie's in the bath. And by the way, Michael, Julie's husband, Michael, he just had his 60th birthday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Is that right? God, he looks fantastic,
and she looks fantastic
Whatever
too.
they're eating or taking.
It's what they're watching, Phil. It's all about what they're watching.
GPTV will always forever keep you young.
That's the best health tip we can give you. Watch this show. Phil, for Trinity Court, Brighton East, well, we had a lot of competition there. We had, I think, 5 or 6 bidders. Reserve is at the top of our range at 1430. Phil, we sold for $1,615,000.
But Gary, that's phenomenal. That's a phenomenal figure over the reserve price.
Well done to Leon Guzenfitter. I had a good fun. The last auction I did in that strip was when that street was on TV.
You should hold a party because it's a court, isn't it?
A Trinity Court party.
Actually, you should have send the coffee van down there. Have a small catered function for the residents of Trinity Court.
The coffee van was there. But what I love is last auction and this one, there's these kids from the street and they set up a little stall and they sell lemonade. I like that whole.
Well, they're going into competition with us.
I know, our commercial enterprise. Like when they weren't looking, I tripped over their card tables, everything went in the ground. No, it's not true. Philip, 13 Teak Street, that was a popular auction.
Yes, it was.
Well, $948,000. One of the featured properties, Philip, that had a fantastic response on the weekend was in Balmoral Court. Now, I love that house. We can't talk about the price.
We can't, which is unfortunate.
Wonderful, wonderful home who's sold to a wonderful family by wonderful people, Philip.
Gary, it was a lovely transaction, wonderful court, and one of the best 60s homes you're likely to see.
Absolutely. So that one went, let's just say, well beyond its range, and so it should have been popular, Philip. A beautiful property. Well, I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Should we talk about this property?
Well, before we do, hang on a second, because the viewers tune into this section because they want to get a flavour of the market. What was really interesting, Gary, was really interesting that whilst we sold 65% of the properties, and we're calling that a good stat, what was really interesting was the level of competition of those 15 properties that we sold. They were all competitive. Now, if you think about November and December,
were they all competitive? They were most of them.
The great majority of them were competitive.
I wouldn't say all because that's fake news and that's exaggeration and embellishment, which you do.
No, it's not fake.
With the best
Gary,
of intentions.
Gary, actually, is embellishment fake news?
I have to ask Donald Trump his advisors and find out.
So I don't think embellishment, if you take a fact and polish that fact, right?
Polish it.
If you polish a fact, it's still a fact.
What was the other thing? The alternate reality, wasn't there another one with how many people attended the inauguration?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's very strange.
So a polished fact is an embellishment, but it's still a fact. Okay. Therefore, it's not fake news.
Is that right? And as George Costanza would say, if you believe it enough, if you really believe it, then it's not a lie either.
Correct.
That's right. Okay, 6 Newham Road, Philip. That was a very competitive property, sold before auction.
Sold before auction, look, sold well. Congratulations to all.
Can we talk about where we are? Because last week we had a great session and then we walked out and forgot to talk about the property, which is quite embarrassing. And of course the vendor was probably chasing us down the street with a big bat.
Well, we can get carried away, Gary, with our own banter.
But have a look at this property, Philip. Look at the facade, and how about the structure here? And I love this address. We're at 30 Loch Avenue, St Kilda East. Philip, I used to walk through here every day on the way to Ripponlea Primary School, which is a couple of streets back there. Tell us a little bit about this property.
Gary, you and I are both massive fans for the 60s and 70s, and this is really, I think this was on the cusp of those two decades, Gary. Only the best went into this home. Some of the detail here is incredible, but we start with a solid brick, beautifully built home. This will outlast us all, Gary. But the attention to detail here and some of the built-in furniture, like the doors that are behind us, are a really good example of how whoever built this home wanted the best of everything.
We just don't build like this anymore.
No.
It's actually unaffordable to build a solid brick like this. We've got 5 bedrooms, 3.5 bathrooms, got plenty of parking, and we're on the best side of the street, Philip, with a north-facing back garden as well.
The north side is, of course, Gary, the best side of the street to buy on, unless, of course, we're selling a house on the other side of the street.
Well, I'm not sure if that's fake news either, or an embellishment, or a combination of the two. Anyway, look, get yourself down to this auction, Philip, because this 30 Loch Avenue is a special property. It's going to be on Sunday, the 17th of March at 1:30 p.m. If I'm not mistaken, Philip, you've got the auction honours.
Gary, let's talk about this weekend's auctions, because how many have we got?
We've got lots of auctions, Philip, but we're not going to start with this weekend's auctions, Philip. We're going to start with this week's auction. We've got a block of apartments in Marriott Street, St Kilda, and I've got to say to you, Philip, that if I had a couple of $1 million, and I know that sounds a bit like...
Did you say a couple of million?
A couple of million, mate. If I had a couple of $1 million plus, I'd be putting my money into this as one of the best investments that you will ever have the fortune of being able to put your hand up for. Take us through this property, Parkside property.
Viewers, we've always said, in fact, Gary and I were probably clever enough or accidental enough to identify early on in our career that blocks of flats really do make the greatest investments, and we still say that. Apartments numbers 1 through 8 at 15 Marriott Street, St Kilda. What a dynamic location, because you're on the park. Literally, this building looks over the park. The park is the next door neighbour. And Gary, if you're into buying real estate and saving money, you buy this block of apartments and then you walk to Aldi, which is just down the road.
Yes.
Anyway, this is 8 one-bedroom apartments.
Do you have a shop at Aldi, by the way?
Do you know what? I don't, only because there's not one very close to me, but if there was, I would.
It's kind of weird when you've got like... Everything's kind of similar to what the real thing is, but it's not quite. So there's like cheesels with an S instead of a Z, but they taste like cheesels.
I know it's like, for first hand.
It's a German brand,
It is, but they are buying the best quality products from the same factories often that the Coles and Woolworths are buying from, just labelled under a different brand. Not that this is an ad for Aldi. Having said that, if the owners of Aldi are watching this somewhere at head office in Munich, we are open to an endorsement from Aldi.
Exactly right. It would be sehr schön.
Yes.
Philip, let's talk about the auctions this weekend. I think we've got about 14 thereabouts, over about 10 suburbs. We've got double auction action. On Saturday morning, we start off in Murrumbeena, which we love it in Murrumbeena. We're at 50 Kinlock Avenue. Kinlock Avenue, I like it in Kinlock Avenue.
Gary, what an outstanding property this is. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of off-street car parking, wonderful sized parcel of land, a beautiful, livable home. That's the sort of real estate you want to buy.
I start off my Saturday bright and early, Philip, in Narrawong Crescent, one of my favourite addresses. This is a great looking property. Leon Guzenfit has been involved with it.
Gary, it's incredible today. 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking. Live in it today, but so much more potential can be had there.
And that's the first of my 4 auctions I've got on Saturday, Philip. But you've only got one on Saturday. How about that?
Well, Gary, now finally you'll get an insight into how hard I work and how little you do.
Is that right? I'm looking forward to that, Phil.
Good luck. I reckon by auction number 2, you're going to be leaning over the bonnet of your car, panting.
You don't need to feel bad that you're not selected as much as auctioneer anymore. So it's okay. There's a message in that as well.
There
Phil.
may well be. I kind of see that.
626 Hawthorn Road, Philip, is on at 11:30, and I'm looking forward to auctioning that one.
3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, a ripper of a location there, a walk obviously to shops and public transport.
You can have a nice sleep in, Philip, and then have the rest of the afternoon off. You've just got the one auction at 11:30 on Saturday in Martha's Lane in South Yarra.
Well, Gary, what a surprise package this is. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and a car space, a wonderful, wonderful outdoor entertaining area, and Martha's Lane in South Yarra, somewhat of a hidden gem.
Jeremy Rosen's busy boy also, 2 or 3 auctions on Saturday. Is going to be in Wellington Street in St Kilda doing his first of 3.
I reckon Wellington Street has become a go-to location as it's rapidly developed over the last 5 years. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space, and you couldn't get a more central location.
I think Joel Sir's handling 5 or 6 properties this weekend. He's a busy young man, Joel Sir.
He is. He can handle it though easily. He sure can. Got a wonderful team that assists him.
He has got a good team. Philip, 3 Sycamore Street goes off in Caulfield South at 12:30 on the auctioneer for that one.
Gary, what a stunning looking home. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, and Sycamore is a great location.
I'll be very happy at 1:30, Philip, doing my 1:30 auction because we're going to be in Gilmore Road, Philip.
Well, Gary, if there's some females there, you could say that they're the Gilmore girls.
Well, I'll be happy Gilmore, Philip, at 1:30.
You might be. Yeah. 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, and of course a lock-up garage, 2nd car space, everything that opens and shuts. It's a pretty schmick property.
Jeremy Rosen's hopping over to Carnegie, and he's going to be doing the 1:30 auction in Nearham Road with Lamore.
Gary, what a stunning property, and in fact I'm saying stunning about everything, but everything this weekend seems to be stunning. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 lock-up garage, great entry level into the market.
A selection of fine properties this weekend, that's for sure. Double auction action at 2:30, Philip, 2 at 436 Creong Road. Goes off at 2:30 with Jeremy Rosen's auctioneer.
This is a really, really good property in a great location. 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, a lock-up garage there, Gary, in immaculate condition. Just move straight in and not spend a cent.
We've sold in that building before, I'm pretty sure.
Well, we've sold in most buildings, Gary, so that was a pretty superfluous statement.
I suppose it would be if I knew what superfluous meant, Philip. 2:30 Graham Callan is going to be in Warnock Road in his hood, auctioning a property that he's been very involved with and he's excited about.
Doing a great job as he always does. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 lock-up garage and a courtyard garden. What more could you possibly want?
Light schedule for you and me actually on Sunday, Philip. But we are starting off at 10:30 a.m. Leo Samuel's auctioning 2 Sycamore Grove in St Kilda East.
Gary, this is the most stunning home. We've sold it before and it is just, it's part of that whole balaclava groove. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, off-street car parking for 2 cars, everything that opens and shuts, and it's a combination of old world meets modern luxury.
Double auction action at 11:30 in Hotham Street,
yes,
in East St Kilda. Nikki Jano is handling the property that Jeremy Rosen's is auctioning at 11:55.
A house-sized apartment in an ideal location. I think that summarises everything, Gary. 2 or 3 bedrooms, depending on how you use this property. 1 bathroom, 1 car space. A very cool building, and we do love Hotham Street.
We love it so much. We've got our second auction there at 11:30. Just up the road, 5 at 107 Hotham Street. Joel Sir is the agent, and I'm the auctioneer.
Gary, everybody wants garden area. And this is 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. Really just move straight into that and not spend a cent.
Philip, at 12:30 you're going to be doing the auction in Halstead Street. I've been through this property. It's a property of great, I think, of great appeal and great potential, and it's a great block of land. It may well be pulled down, Philip. Talk to us about
Gary, the headline to this property is a period beauty in a prime locale, which is what really is the way I would describe you when you're in Caulfield Park. You're a period beauty in a prime locale. And of course, we're walking distance to Caulfield Park from Halstead Street. This is 673 square metres of prime Halstead Street land with a very lovely period home. So you could buy that for the land, you could buy it for the house, and Halstead Street is regarded as one of the premier addresses of that location.
Sure is. At 1:30, Philippa has auction honours in Trevelyan Street, Elstwick, a great address. I love it in Elstwick. Take us through this property.
Well, this has been popular, Gary. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space. and it's been popular because it's got a massive courtyard garden, and that is the differentiator for this size apartment.
Always good.
Everybody wants an apartment with a courtyard.
130 Philip Jeremy Rosens is in his hood in Eastern Kilda. It's 66 Westbury Street. Now, I remember those are very large apartments.
Gary, I had a call from a member of my family about this one because it caught their eye and they rang me to see what I thought of it. And I said, this is an absolute buy because it's really, I think it's about 30% larger than the average apartment. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, north-facing entertaining areas, and Westbury Street, we love it.
Members of the family are interesting because if it's your son or your sister or your parents, you can't sell
well,
them.
Gary, it's not an immediate member. Okay. And viewers, just so you know, there's a thing called Section 55 of the Estate Agents Act, which precludes real estate agents from buying properties from their own company, and it's a very, very sensible law.
It is very sensible, but if there's somebody that's distant or more, they can buy. But we always make sure the vendor knows, Philip.
Always bring it to the attention of the owner.
Absolutely. Philip, we wrap up at 2:30 at 193 Bambra Road, Caulfield South. Tell us about this property that you're going to be auctioning.
Gary,
to close the day
I'm going to have the pleasure of this. This is what I think everybody should be buying, because if you think about how expensive the marketplace is in the areas that we predominate, to be able to find something at around $1 million or slightly less is very hard. This is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a lock-up garage, car space in front, courtyard gardens, and it's in immaculate condition, Gary. So you're buying a small home in a dynamic location, and of course if you buy that property, Gary, you can just get up in the morning and walk to Fress, get your beloved partner a cup of coffee and bring it home to her or him or they, and it's all good. Yeah.
Is that when you've got more than one person?
Gary, you are so clearly old-fashioned if you had to ask me what they is.
Okay,
viewers, we've got a lot to do to educate Gary. He may be the world's greatest expert in property.
What do you explain to me?
But in terms of actually taking a broad and greater interest in life, really a dinosaur. And you know what happened to the dinosaurs, Gary.
I'm still here, Phil. Unlike the dinosaurs, I'm still here. Not sure how long for, but I'm still here. That's a big wrap on the weekend. There's some quality stuff coming through.
Yes.
The market has spoken, and it's a good market out there, Phil.
Gary,
it felt a lot better than we were, well, not necessarily expecting, but fearful of, I suppose you could say. We were fearful that people would be holding back, but they're not. They're stepping up to the plate and they're buying.
Before we go, Gary, one property that we did GPTV at last week, we did the GPTV last week so beautifully from 2A Flowers Street in Caulfield South, which is the most stunning property, as you saw and as you're now seeing up on screen. And of course, you forgot to mention it, Gary, so here I am doing the thing. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, brilliant entertaining areas. In fact, you've really got the choice of 3 entertaining areas. You've got wraparound courtyard gardens, and you're walking distance to 2 trams, Hawthorn Road and Glen Huntly Road. So Flower Street, great location. Watch out for that property. Its details are up on screen. And on that note, enjoy the heat wave, enjoy the start of summer. My name's Philip Kingston. Have a fantastic week.
You know you forgot to bring the file, don't you, last week? Just want to mention that, which is why it didn't get mentioned. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.